Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
So, at some point within the last 24 hours, we have uploaded the Night 1 WrestleMania star rating reaction video to Dave Meltzer. Maybe it was at the same time. Maybe it
You're
was
trying to make this a thing to throw me off because you don't want me to do better than you.
Well, I definitely don't want you to do better than me. However, I do have a little bit of a curveball that is completely out of my hands, Larson. Would you like to know what it is?
All right.
One of these matches has no rating.
All right.
And he didn't say he wasn't rating it. It simply doesn't have a rating.
It just doesn't have one. All right. It's 1 to 2. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yes. So I don't know how you want to handle that. I'm open to any suggestions. Of course, I did not tell you this before we started rolling.
I mean, I guess it'd just be if I think that particular match has no rating, then that's what I'll say. Like I said, I think it's 1 of 2. There's two obvious ones.
Correct. Fair enough. All right, man. Well, are you ready? You have to get better than one match right in order to beat my score.
I'll probably be within a quarter star all 7 of these matches. Well, 6, since there's one that has no rating.
You know what I've noticed with you and I've noticed this big time with basketball. And it kind of sometimes works both ways, but if I set a particular benchmark, you sometimes will respond in kind.
Yeah.
Like if I get 4 in the 3-point contest, you'll barely get 5 maybe.
Yeah.
When you should clear me. Anyways. We'll go ahead and start. We'll go ahead and start with the first match on the card. Io Sky retained the women's world title over Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair in 14 minutes and 8 seconds. This was fast-paced, great heat, creative, and technically excellent. I can't say enough for it. Thus far in 2025, Sky has been the best bell-to-bell wrestler in WWE. Belair did a series of suplexes, dancing and hitting the third. The finish saw Belair hit the KOD on Ripley, but Sky came off the top rope with a moonsault on both of them, and mostly Belair, and pinned Belair. Oh, God. There is a lot more of a description there, but it was all descriptive. But that first... Yeah, okay, here we go.
Yeah, read the first couple sentences again for me, please.
This was fast-paced, great heat, creative, and technically excellent. I can't say enough for it.
I mean, based on those handful of sentences, it's got to be higher than the main event of night 1, which is 4 3/4. So it's 5, or I'm going to say 5 stars.
5 stars, you're on the board. All right, we're exactly at the same spot where I was in the first match.
Yep, you got the first one right. All downhill from there.
All right, number 2. Drew McIntyre beat Damian Priest in a street fight in 13 minutes and 54 seconds. The write-up is exclusively description.
Yeah, this kind of feels like a description match.
However, earlier in the write-up, in the pre-stuff matter, he said this. It's the only thing you get. Night 2 also had strong bouts with Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a street fight and Dominic's IC title win over Braun Penta and Finn. Here's a little bit more description. Kerry King, a guitar player for Slayer, played Priest's entrance song into the ring. Priest did an elbow off the apron and hit McIntyre with the ring steps. McIntyre got the advantage and tweeted during the match, getting a phone from one of his buddies at ringside. He had put a chair in the corner and gave Priest a Claymore kick into the chairs for a pin. That's all you get.
So he commended the in-ring work and that little bit.
Strong bout, he says.
Strong bout. Strong, to me, feels somewhere between... It's either a 3.5 or 3 3/4 thing. I'm going to say you give it 3 3/4.
He gave it 4 1/4.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really like that finish, then.
Yeah. Next up. Dominic Mysterio won a 4-way to win the IC title over champion B. Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and Penta. I'm literally
B. Braun Breaker?
That's what it says here. Kind of like that name better than just Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Another great match as this show started off 3 for 3. Balor used the coup de grace and was pinning Breaker, but Dominic came off the top rope with a frog splash on Balor for the pin. They did the same finish in both 3-way matches.
Another great match, he says. So great's been established in the four-star territory. So whether it depends if it's 4 and up or just in the 4 range, or 4 exactly. And I thought this match was better than the one that preceded it. I'll say he gave it 4 1/4 as well.
He gave it 4 1/4 as well. Damn it, you win. All right, we can call it a day now.
Nah, I want to see how well I could do. I don't find the one that has
try
no
to
rating.
run this score up, dude?
Here, let me ask. Can I ask you a question? If you don't want to answer it, I understand.
Yeah, no, I don't want
to. The one that he gave no rating, did it seem like a thing where he just forgot to put it there, or it's intentionally no rating?
So the one thing that I did mention, if you were paying attention, and yes, I'm going to be salty now because you already won.
That's fine.
Is I don't know. He did not.
Okay.
He did not give it no rating. There's no rating there. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I guess I meant, like it was a while ago where he did a write-up and it was a match with Liv Morgan in it. And I think it was the first Saturday Night main event or one of the.
He
just didn't put a rating there and it was an accident.
Right. Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay. All right.
Next up, Randy Orton versus Joe Hendry. Randy Orton pinned Joe Hendry in 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Hendry came out with the TNA title, and people went crazy singing his song. Orton used a power slam, a draping DDT, and then Hendry hit a fallaway slam. Hendry did his turn and smile, and then Orton hit the RKO out of nowhere for the pin.
See, when you first mentioned that, this is one of the 2 matches I thought maybe had no rating because it was so short. Sometimes he does that. He just doesn't give a rating for a match that's really short. But usually, well, not usually, but at times he'll say that he's not going to give it a rating. I feel like I'm going to say this is one he gave no rating.
Very good. Very good. Now you're on, you got 3 right.
Yeah.
All right. Continuing on. Logan Paul versus AJ Styles. 17 minutes and 44 seconds. This match was good.
No, it wasn't. It sucked.
All right. Well, he references that here. For whatever reason, the crowd wasn't that into it, he says. Paul used a really high powerbomb lift, but then threw him over the other direction, a move out of the 1980s Devil Masami playbook. I just added that description in there because I like that. I always like when he references obscure shit.
Yeah.
Obscure to me, anyways. Paul got a near fall with a moonsault block. One of Paul's buddies came out with brass knucks. Karrion Kross came out as a face and got the brass knucks from the guy. Kross wanted Styles to use the knucks. He keeps on capitalizing knucks, K-N-U-X. Styles took them and threw them away. Fans do not want baby faces who have been screwed by heels and then not fight fire with fire. This wouldn't be the only time on this show that was to happen. Styles the punched Kross. I think he means then punched Kross. Paul then laid out Styles with a haymaker punch as he got in the ring and hit the pulverizer for the win. What star rating did Dave
It was good.
Good.
The crowd wasn't into it, though. So regardless how good the match was, the crowd's not into it. It's not going to be rewarded for getting the heat that Meltzer so prizes in his highly rated matches.
Mm-hmm.
Good, though, is below... Let's say he gave it 3.5.
God damn it. This is a squash match. You're killing me right now, man.
Yeah.
Good job. Well done. All right.
Apparently the switch did happen.
The switcheroo happened, man. The switcheroo is real. It's a real thing, Larson.
Guess so.
All right.
Was that 4 for me?
Yeah.
I'm 4 or 5 so far, aren't I?
Yeah. Yeah, you got 4 or 5.
It's the best I've ever done.
All right. Well, good job. Let's keep it going. Let's keep this momentum going. See if we can get whatever it be. 5
6
or
6 or 7. See if we can get 6 or 7.
The main event is going to be a big one.
Yeah, that one. The range that he can give that one is pretty vast. So.
Becky Lynch and Valkyrie won the women's tag titles from Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. Of course, Lynch got a big reaction for her surprise return. People weren't reacting unless Lynch was in, and the match was about beating on Valkyria most of the way to build to the hot tag. Lynch did the hot tag. Morgan came back to hit the Oblivion on Lynch, and Valkyria had to save it. Valkyria used a tornado DDT on the floor, and in the ring, Lynch hit the manhandle slam on Morgan for the pin. What rating did he give this match?
Not much editorializing there.
Not a lot there, no.
He didn't say it was good like he did the previous one. He didn't mention anything about the actual quality of the match or the crowd's reaction to it, which leads me to think
Well, he said the crowd was reacting when Lynch was in.
Yeah. I'll say he gave this one the same as the previous one, 3.5.
He gave this match 2 stars. He believed in his estimation, this match simply happened.
This match simply happened. Wow.
Yeah.
That's awful. It was a fun enough match.
Before we get to the main event, Larson, I'll throw you this little one here. Steve Austin came out on ATV to announce the attendance figure for the second night. Nobody explained how they drew 1,800 more people in a building than the night before, which they said sold out, and basically actually did. He ended up crashing the ATV into the barricade, and a woman at ringside in the front row was injured. Nick Khan was seen on camera rushing towards the scene to appease her. I'm sad there's no more scoops on that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think anybody's had scoops on that.
No, not yet.
All right, dude. So he talked about this match, the main event, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, pretty extensively in the pre-matter.
Mm-hmm.
The actual write-up was seemingly mostly just description. However, I am going to do my best to give you as much description, as much editorializing, as I can.
Appreciated.
So that you can get to that 5-7, which is definitely a record for you. You might already be at your record.
Yeah, it might be.
I think I got like 6-5 once, which is crazy.
Doesn't work. I mean, that's not possible, but sure, you can believe that.
You ready for this, dude?
Yeah.
All right. So earlier on, this is the second part. This is the next. Remember when I said he said the show was great, including strong bouts from Priest and the IC title. Well, the next thing that he said here was that show was great until Randy Orton's squash of Joe Hendry, and really just fine until Rhodes versus Cena, which was a long and not good at all match with a weak finish. The Rhodes versus Cena match was not the worst WrestleMania event of all time, but it was on the short list. Cena, who turned 48 this week, could do his signature moves, but everything was slow and his bumping looked bad. He wasn't dynamic at all. Travis Scott interfered, and it took forever to him to get to the ring, and they had to essentially stop wrestling waiting for him to come, which looked bad. Cena and Rhodes ended up in a tug-of-war with the belt. Rhodes got it, but refused to use it. Cena foreshadowed this in a promo about Rhodes failing to pull the trigger. The silly part is that pulling the trigger and failing to do so was just used in the Rhodes versus Kevin Owens title program when Owens did the same thing to an injured Rhodes. Cena then used a low blow before the belt shot. The spot was unbelievably lame. Perhaps if Cena was still a babyface, it wouldn't have worked. But one of the reasons the crowd started booing Rhodes is that he, as a babyface, was beaten down by Cena, Rock, and Scott in the Elimination Chamber angle, but then came on television, and rather than looking to get revenge, he participated in essentially debates with Cena for the love of the audience. However, it does set up a spot at the end of the line in a rematch where Rhodes does pull the trigger and hit Cena with a belt shot. That was the extent of his editorializing in the pre-matter.
Okay.
In the actual write-up, the only amount of description... there's a little bit here at the end here. He says this is for shits and giggles. Rhodes came out in an Iron Man mask. He hugged his daughter on the way to the ring. That didn't stop people from booing him. It was very slow early. Cena was slow and clearly hurting as he bumped like a guy who didn't want to be bumping. Sounds like if I ever got into a match.
Yeah, me too.
Rhodes, okay, so now we're down to the finish. Rhodes then grabbed the belt, and they had a tug-of-war, which Rhodes won. Then Rhodes refused to hit Cena with the belt. In 2025, you want to make sure a babyface doesn't get over, have him do that spot. I couldn't believe Rhodes would agree to that. Not a 1% chance Dusty Rhodes in that situation isn't hitting the guy with the belt and getting the pin, and then a second ref comes out and tells the first ref what happens. Instead of winning here, he'd be DQ'd, which granted is a worse ending than they did, but also wouldn't wind up with the crowd booing him. Cena then gave Rhodes a low blow and hit the belt shot for the pin. What star rating did Dave Meltzer give the main event of Night 2 WrestleMania 41? Probably the most polarizing match in recent history.
So he said it wasn't the worst.
It's on the short list.
Mania. Did you specify Mania match or Mania main event?
Main events. He did specify main events.
Which tells me it's not going to be a minus rating, not going to be minus stars. In fact, I believe it's probably going to be somewhere between 1/4 star and 1 1/4. I'm going to say that Dave and I's Contra aligned on this one. I think I gave it 3/4 of a star. I'm going to say he said 3/4 of a star.
He gave this 1/4 of a star less than the Becky Lynch match, 1 3/4. That was my reaction too. I was like, good Lord, he just spent 20 minutes savaging this match, vaporizing it into dust.
And gave it 1 3/4?
And the match almost existed for him. The match was almost, it was on the verge of being technically fine. Because that's what 2 stars is for him.
That doesn't add up.
It does not add up. I copied this directly from the thing, so
no, I do that. I believe you.
Maybe he meant to give it, I don't know, like a higher rating. I mean,
you can only go by what's in there, so we can't assume that a mistake was made.
Can't question that one. Let's just double check here. I want to double check. There's 1 star and then 3/4.
Yeah, that's 1 3/4.
Yeah, if it was the opposite, it would be 3/4 and then a star.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he gave
that's
it
head scratching. So he gave that one the same rating as Tiffany and Charlotte, even though Cena versus Cody was way worse.
Yeah. That's
odd. That's confusing.
It is odd. He's throwing us for a loop, man. I think he's
got that right.
He saw that we were on TNA television with our reaction, and he was like, "Why aren't I on TNA television?" I'm like, "Dave, you don't do reaction videos." Although
no,
I would love if they did. I would stop doing our reaction videos, and I would simply watch Dave's reactions.
Ideally, what I would love to see is Dave do reactions to our star ratings. If we can make that happen, that would be awesome.
Don't put that out there, then people are going to start tagging him and shit. I don't want that.
Well, I don't want anybody on social media. I won't see it. So
you know us, Larson. We don't want anybody to know we exist.
Yeah, I know. We just want to kind of be in our little.
We want to make money commensurate to everybody knowing we exist without anybody knowing we exist.
No, I don't want anybody paying attention to anything I do.
Anyways, hey, congratulations, man. I think you got
4-7 is still pretty good.
4-7 is damn good. Very good. You squashed me. This was, and then you gave me the second RKO as well. So well done. Congratulations. That's night 2 of WrestleMania. Let us know what you guys thought about those other guys and their cold star ratings.
Oof,
we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.